Good evening, my wonderful, beautiful friends of Facebook. Welcome to day number 7 of 30 days of eco living tips for you. So today I, prompted by a friend actually on another page that I often participate in, today I'm going to talk real quick about glass and plastic, storing your food, carrying your food, all those fun things. So most of us are super familiar with Tupperware, your general, well, I'm sure that they want to be called by their own brand name since Tupperware is kind of its own brand that's been around since like the 50s, you know, when women's lives were made so much easier with the creation of amazing things such as the stove and the vacuum and the microwave and frozen dinners and all that fun stuff, because you know we needed some rescue. Anyway, but all kidding aside, plastic and glass. So let me just tell you a little bit more about plastic. There is little numbers at the bottom of plastic that I'm sure you guys have all seen. They usually vary from number 1 through 7, and then these numbers generally designate how recyclable they are, what they're made out of, what you can do with them. And I had to write down a few of the notes because I can only say the words when I read them. But basically, when food use grade plastics are numbers 1, 2, 4, and 6. And anything outside of that, so numbers 3, 6, and 7, are not necessarily good for food use. So they're generally made out of vinyl or polyvinyl PVC, basically polystyrene, or mixed plastics, which includes, you know, using resins and epoxy and all kinds of other things. And the reason they're made out of that is so that they're durable and strong. I mean, for those of you that are out there and do CrossFit, PVC pipes, I mean, those suckers are, you know, pretty hard. So anyway, so they don't usually recommend that those are used for food because when you heat them up, they do have a reaction to heat. Most of you probably use them in the microwave. They start to leach out that chemical not only into the air, but into your food. So then it's like, oh yeah, I'm eating resin and epoxy and random things. So there aren't any, well, so they say, there aren't any conclusive research studies that have been done on the effects of BPAs on people, but I would imagine that eating resin or being, you know, inhaling it is not necessarily a good thing. I do know that the studies that have not been verified by the FDA, although you can go to the FDA website and find that they'll say, oh, well, it's inconclusive. Well, what the hell does that mean? The studies that have been put out there do say that they have an effect on your hormones, you know, and on your metabolism for kids, on their brain development and brain function. So you kind of want to try and release yourself of as much exposure as possible. I did get a couple of comments or emails recently, or messages, whatever you want to call them. They're all come through my phone anyway. You know, about a couple people that were like, well, you know, I'm going to die anyway, and it's all doom and gloom, and I'm already exposed to 90% of everything anyhow. And you know what? That's true. That is very true. You are exposed to a lot of chemicals and a lot of things that are, you know, that are going to kill you. Something's going to kill you. I mean, that's what we're all doing. You know, we're all actively decaying on a daily basis. We just don't know how we're going to go. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to care about how you're going to live that life, how you're going to go through your everyday, how your kids, how your pets even, how they're going to live the best life that they can live by decreasing your exposure to chemicals. So no one said you had to be perfect and do things a very specific way that fits in a box. You know, you do what you can for yourself, and you go from there knowing that you put your best foot forward to have the best life possible, the healthiest life possible. A lot of you who are very close friends of mine that work out a lot, you know, whether you are runners or CrossFitters or power lifters or whatever, I mean, we're all constantly doing things to keep ourselves healthy and strong and our muscles functioning to their best of their ability. So, you know, why not do these other little things? So anyway, that's my little tiny rant on that. But I do want to show you a couple of options of what you can do to store your food in, to take for lunch, and that sort of thing. So I don't know if you can see here, I have a whole bunch of different glass containers. You know, like to store chia seeds or rice or dry goods. You know, there's a seal around here to prevent the air. Now, I have found since moving here to Virginia that freaking humidity is everywhere. and I can't open my damn windows, and I can't control the environment all the time. And we don't have this much of a problem, obviously, in places like San Diego, or throughout California or other states where it's a little bit drier. So you don't always have to have super airtight containers, but here they're kind of a must. But nevertheless, containers like these, or I am a huge fan of mason jars for what they're meant to be used for, not as wedding decorations or centerpiece decor. Anyway, so as you see here, I have some slivered almonds, and I just stick them in the jar instead of keeping them in the plastic. It keeps them fresher a lot longer. You can also use like these type of ceramic ware. This is just ordinary old Corningware, and sometimes when you buy the sets of Corningware, they come with lids that you can use. These you can freeze, you can put in the fridge. Again, a lot of these things will keep your food fresher longer, even though you don't have a lid for them. So even if you used like one of the silicone tops, or I mean, a lot of these come with plastic tops, and you know, you do what you can. The Pyrex makes like an entire variety of different glass containers of all sizes. I actually like to use them for some of my spices. Again, because of the humidity, I store some of my spices in the freezer to keep them dry so they don't clump, such as garlic powder and onion powder, cumin. There's a lot of different ones that really clump up and get really super dry, and then, you know, wasted spice. So please don't ever take your jar of stuff, put some plastic in it, and then put it in the fridge. Okay, I mean, just poison yourself while you're at it, you know, slice your face off. And don't do it with your pet's food either. I know it's super trendy and cute and adorable and hard to avoid buying the little plastic lids at the checkout line when you're at the pet store for your food containers, for your cat or dog food containers, but don't do that. If you didn't want to eat resin and epoxy and crap bacteria that starts to grow there, you don't want to feed it to your pets either, or babies, or their elderly, or anyone with a compromised immune system. So again, few tips. You can freeze a lot of these. You can freeze the glass, you can freeze the Corningware stuff, the ceramic. You can even freeze stuff that's made out of steel that comes with a lid. What I recommend though, anytime you're doing that, you can freeze jars too, but I don't recommend that you use anything that has a neck that narrows. You kind of want to stick to something that has a wide mouth, because obviously when things freeze, they expand and therefore break things. Usually I'm sure all of you have like left a Coke or something in the freezer and you see the bottle kind of get all plump. Well, the jar will do that too, except the jar will break and then make a hot mess up in your freezer, and then that sucks cleaning it up. So when you use a jar to freeze anything, you kind of want to just go about 3/4 of the way up to give it room to move. You don't want to use this because this will break regardless of you filling it to the bottom or not. It will. Let's see, what else? I mean, really, that's about it. Glass is super easy. Oh, another tip that I learned the hard way a long time ago. I have a toaster oven. I don't have a microwave. I haven't had a microwave for a really long time. So what I do is that I heat up my food for breakfast or whatever, either in the oven or the toaster oven, in the glass. But don't set it down on your countertop if you have granite or any other kind of stone that will have a really cool temperature, because guess what's going to happen? Crack. And then that's also really lame, because then you have a hot mess and then you have food you can't eat, and that makes me sad. So I recommend making sure you have a little pot holder or a towel or something that protects it from cracking because of the wide temperature change. So anyway, once again, today, day number 7 of your eco tips. I wish I had glass slippers like Cinderella, but I don't. So I would say try starting to switch out to using glass for your food container, for your lunch container, from using plastic. And again, for plastic, pay attention to what you're using, especially if you're getting it from like a meal delivery service, or you're just buying it on Amazon. The food grade plastic will always have a number on the bottom that is 1 to 4, or 6. Those are the food grade ones that don't have as many poisonous chemicals for when you heat them up. And I really recommend try not use them if you can make that transition. As always, please feel free to send me a message. If you do send me messages, I highly encourage that you do it on the video so more people can watch. And then also too, I'm able to have a dialogue with you that other people might be wondering about, or questions that they may have, and it really helps out. You never know who's watching, and you never know who can use the information and has the same questions as you. And I really rather share all my knowledge with as many of you. But nevertheless, I am very thankful. Sorry, that's my laundry going back there. Very thankful that you do take the time to trust me, to inbox me or text me, and you know, pose all these different questions. So thank you again for letting me into your day. I hope you're having an amazing one. Have a good night if you're on the East Coast. Enjoy your evening on the West Coast, and talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.